Okay, welcome. I'm Dana Marsden. I'm one of the instructional coaches. I support the middle schools, and I'm here with Mara Vlasic this morning. Is it still morning? It is still morning. All right. Please grab that bit.ly. We'll throw it in the chat for you, but that's the way for you to register for this session and record your attendance in this session for clock hours. If you've already taken our PD and signed up in the PD portal, you're good with that. We are recording this. We will be posting this video on our website, and you can also grab that presentation if you want to follow us. It's at the bottom of the screen. And Mari, you can put that bit.ly in as well. Thank you. All right. So we want to acknowledge the tribal land that Edmonds School District is on. We are on the traditional homelands of the Duwamish, Skokomish, Snohomish, Snoqualmie, and Suquamish, and other coastal Salish tribes. The tribes granted us the use of the land to the United States via that Treaty of 1855, and we want to acknowledge that. So our agenda today is we're going to review the Canvas Gradebook. We're going to review the Speedgrader. We're going to take a look at setting up the Canvas to Skyward syncing, and then we're going to leave a lot of time open for questions throughout and towards the end. Some of our meeting norms is that, again, we are recording this and we'll put it on our learning sessions page where all our sessions have been recorded and placed there. You can post questions in the chat, and one of us will be monitoring that as we go, and we'll bring the questions up if they're as they come up. Please mute your mic when you're not speaking. You can have your video on, but it is optional. It's kind of nice for us, but it is optional. And remember, we're all working on progress over perfection. So we wanted to just quickly remind you about the district Canvas requirements for grading. So entering your grades into Canvas is the new requirement. It's so for all your daily activities, all your communications, all your assignments will start and end in Canvas. And then we'll work together today to talk about how Canvas then syncs with Skyward. So I'm going to go over Canvas as the grade book. Okay. So what is it? Well, it's a grade book. It's a place where you enter students' grades. You can control what you see. You can communicate directly with students. And as I've said, it does sync with Skyward. The nice things you can do with the Canvas gradebook are entering from there. You have two different choices how you enter grades. You can view all your students in the entire course at once, or you can view them the way we normally do in class periods, class sections, and AB sections as well. You can view all the assignments at once or just by modules. I'll show you that. You can hide and unhide assignments, and then you can also send messages directly to students about a particular assignment. So these are the two different ways that you can enter scores. So on the left side here, we've got, you can type your scores directly into a column under your assignment, or you can use the Speedgrader and type your scores directly in here, and I will talk more about that in a few minutes.
Dana, where do you find the one on the left?
I'm going there right now.
Sorry, I'm ahead.
Yep.
Too much coffee, sorry.
No worries, darling.
No problem.
As we go through this, feel free to add any questions to the chat. I'm monitoring the chat right now, so I'm happy to also interrupt Dana as we go to if there's anything that we want to address.
Awesome.
Too.
Okay, so top tip. The first tip I'm going to share with you, though, is to hide your assignments that you don't want to be showing up in your gradebook. And these are the assignments that you've put in, but they're not published yet. And so let me go ahead and so I'm going to share my Canvas course here. So by default, so here's, you wanted to know where this is. So here is my Canvas course. I'm going to click on grades on my navigation bar.
Dana, could you zoom in a little bit on that? Will you do that again and zoom in, please?
Sure.
Thanks.
I think. Oh, look at that. Is that Zoom? Okay. So I'm on that navigation bar. These are the four things that are visible to my students. They also can click on grades. Okay. And now you can see on this screen that I've got an unpublished assignment. And then these assignments I have that are the ones I really want grading. So under the view button, we click on the view button and we're going to go down to the bottom of this here and we're going to unclick on publish assignments. When I do that, those assignments disappear. Now, as soon as you publish an assignment, they will appear in your gradebook. So you didn't lose them. They're just not there while you don't need them to add, chaos in your gradebook. Kind of makes it visually less crazy. Okay. So those directions are here. Click on the view. Whoops, let me bring that up. Okay. So we click view. It'll bring you down to that box there, unpublished assignments, and then all of those unpublished assignments disappear. Okay. Oh, I just saw somebody did it. Cherry. That was a great face. Okay, now let's talk about other views you have available to you. And I'll just go through these slides and then I'll take you through it on the Canvas page. So in your Canvas, your class periods are called sections. And you can view the entire, and do I have this? Oh, I have this slide a little bit backwards. Okay. You also can view your entire gradebook by just the modules you're working on, which is a nice thing I found last year. So let's go back to my Canvas course here. And I'm on the same page. I didn't leave it. I'm on that same page where I unclicked that unpublished assignments. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to this thing called filters. Now filters is going to add some new boxes to this top bar here. Okay, and they just stay there. You only have to do this once for each of your courses. So I'm going to select sections. And now you see that is here. And while we're here, I'm just going to go ahead and select also under filters, I'm going to select modules. Okay, so here are all my students for this course. Your list is much longer than mine. And I just want to take a look at first period. So I can go underneath all sections and period 1. Now you will have mine are simpler because I made these, but you will have you have your A and your B groupings of your class periods. A is on the top, B is on the bottom. We confirmed that yesterday. And so now I only see my 2 students that are in this first period class. And now I can just work with them. I can also grab my second period class and just work with those students. So I found that using this tool by periods makes sense when I'm grading things by periods. Later on, it kind of makes more sense to have all my students listed if I'm doing a stack of late work. So.
Dana, can I interrupt you for just a second? Sure. We have a few questions. So there's a question about if there's a way to click so that all students who've submitted get their full points, but students who haven't submitted stay in the default mode. And I'm not sure that there's a way to do that, but can you show them once you've graded a few things how to assign grades to the remaining students using the little, I can also show them that too, but the 3 dots for default term.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Should I do it I'm wondering, I think I'm just going to do it here, even though I don't have any grades. So here is an assignment. And then when I'm up in here, what's nice about this, if I click on that, it takes me straight back to the assignment. So if I need to, that's not working right, I can go straight back to my assignment from the gradebook. If I click these 3 dots, I get a lot of options. But what she's that question was about was the set default grade. So if I have a group of students that I've used this in several ways, but the one more common way is I've got students who just haven't turned this assignment in and it's late. So I can put in a 0 if that's what I'm going to do. I wouldn't overwrite already entered grades unless you're trying to change a score, and and it's all one score. And then I can click default grade, and as soon as that box where it says they've been updated, now you can see that all these students now have 0s. I can do whatever grade I think I need to, like, oh, I really only wanted to score that as a 5-point score. So instead of 10, I'm going to go back in here and change it to 5, and it will update all of them at the same time. Whoops, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Oh, I know why, because I needed to override. Because I already put grades in. Okay. There you go. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, Dana, there's a question about, can you manually enter grades right here from this view?
Yeah. I can just click on that box and I can type in my grades. So it just works like a regular online gradebook too. There's some other really cool other features in here that I will share with you in the next section. The other thing that I found to be really powerful, especially since we now have modules and weeks, and it took me a bit convincing to do that, but now that we're all doing it, this becomes long and wide and deep, and it's kind of hard to see and manage, but I can select a module, and let's say I'm just going to grab week 2, and it will just pull the assignments for that I have put in that module in this view. And so I can just see what's going on for that 1 week. And I just can, and I can look at that. I got 150% on that. That's awesome. But that's I found that to be a really nice function, instead of it being just trying to find those assignments in a list by name. If I know that I assigned it during week 3, I can pull it and make it a week 3. Or I can, again, if I want to see all modules, because I'm going to be typing and entering maybe some late work in, this is a really nice view too. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so I've just gone over viewing it by class periods. Mara, will you remind me to fix this slide when we post this? And then by modules. Okay. I want to talk to you next about how to send messages to students directly, and I'll show you how this works too. So I have an assignment where I want to remind students that they missed the due date, that they still have this, they haven't turned this assignment in yet. So on the top of the assignment column, there are those 3 dots that we just were in to set a common grade. I can then click where it says message students who, and then I get this window, and it's a default to students who haven't submitted it yet. And there's a lot of other choices here. For example, you could say that haven't been graded. Like, I just want to let my students that I got it, but it hasn't been graded yet. Maybe I want to let them know, hey, you scored a little lower than, consider resubmitting, or maybe you want to celebrate those that scored really well. So you have these 4 choices in here. Other choices you have in here is that you have the ability to just select which students you want to see in that, or send that message. Let's say I've already talked to student 9 about this. I don't need to badger them, so I'm going to remove them, and I'll show you how to do that. And then this is all editable, all this stuff. You can add your own message. I never liked that message. I always changed it, and then the subject, and then the message, and it sends a message out to every student through their inbox in Canvas. Okay, so that would be something that you're probably going to need to teach students to be paying attention to, that inbox in Canvas. Okay, so let me go ahead and go back to the gradebook here. So I'm on that same page again, and I'm going to, there's your 3 dots. Let's do this. I'll do this 3 dots because I've got some students who haven't turned this in. Message students who, and now it showed all 3 that have not submitted that assignment. I can also haven't scored less than, let's say 5. And you can see that just populated, instantly populated the 2 students that didn't score full credit for that assignment. Okay. And then all of this is editable. If I don't want to send a message to student 5, I just click the X and they disappear. So really powerful messaging tool to let students know, hey, you forgot to hit publish or submit or whatever.
Dana, can you show where you see the student's final grade or a cumulative grade in the gradebook? And yours might not have a lot just because you don't have.
I'm going to have to unzoom. How's
Yeah.
that? Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to slide this bar over. So all the way over here on the end are some different ways you can see grades. So I can see grades by my different categories. And then since I really don't have any grades, this might not be the best. And I can't show you a class of mine because it has student information on it. So, but it will populate on this end. And if I only show, actually, let me see if I can reduce this down to a module. There you go, right here. Okay.
And we're going to talk about setting up your categories. You will see, students will see their percentage for each category. So if you have weighted categories in your Skyward Gradebook, they would also see those weighted percentages too, right there.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay.
There's a few questions, but I think we're going to address them in just a few minutes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, just before you move on the weighted
Yeah.
categories, we have 3 or 4 categories. Where do I type those in?
Oh, Darlene, just wait like 10 more minutes and I will tell you.
Yeah. We got you back on that
Again.
one.
Just kidding.
She's that student that's always thinking ahead. All right. Let's talk about, so we're going to shift from Gradebook to Speedgrader. The Speedgrader is a tool that I really kind of fell in love with for a lot of reasons. It's a powerful tool. It's a grading tool to grade student work that has been submitted in Canvas. You can use Speedgrader for student work that is not necessarily turned in on Canvas. Let's say a project assignment. If I had a stack of projects, I can still use Speedgrader, and I'll show you why or how I did that. It's accessible from the Canvas Gradebook and assignments, so you can get to Speedgrader in a lot of different ways, and I'll demonstrate that. And all the scores that you put into Speedgrader go straight to your Canvas Gradebook, so you don't have to then enter any scores in the column. It just automatically populates. So what you can do with Speedgrader is that you can look at a student's submission and grade it on the same screen. You can give feedback. Lots of different ways to feedback. You can link a file like you didn't remember what I taught you about a 5-paragraph essay. Here's the document for that, and you can resubmit. You can also add typed submit comments. You can also do video, and you can do audio comments. And then if you are interested in using a rubric with an assignment, you can add a rubric to the assignment, and it also appears in the Speedgrader. We're not talking about rubrics specifically today, but I wanted to let you know that in case some of you have already gotten into using that. Okay, so Speedgrader, and I'll show you all these bits here, can be accessed through your assignments, quizzes, and gradebook. So if you want to access it through an assignment, let's say I'm going to score this assignment here. I'm looking at the page on the far right-hand side is the Speedgrader button. I can also access it through the 3 little dots where we have been looking at other things today. So Speedgrader. I could also access it through, if I'm in a gradebook and I see this symbol right here in that list on the gradebook, that means that student has submitted that assignment. If I click on that assignment, I get this open box and that arrow, you click on that, you will also get access to Speedgrader. So you can access Speedgrader in any place where you're actually potentially going to grade an assignment. Okay, let me see if I want to go. Okay. I'll show you those steps as I show you this too. So let's go to another. Okay. So here's that assignment that I shared some screenshots with you. This was from last spring with my students. So here is a way to access Speedgrader right here. I click that. I go straight to Speedgrader. It opens a new window for you to work in. I can also, if I go, oh, I'm not going to click grades because these are my students, but if I click grades and at the top of the 3 buttons, I can also access this as well. Can you all see that okay? It's a little, let me back out a little bit. Okay. Sorry, where was I going with this? Okay. So we've got, so I have this assignment here. It's actually an, it was an ed puzzle. It wasn't an ed puzzle assignment. It was a CAMI assignment, I believe. And it was pretty cool because students could draw on this and then they could type in these boxes here, which are actually one table square. I can add comments here on the outside. I can highlight. There's a lot of things I can do in this to add value to the student's submission. I can enter a grade simply by typing in a score in the box. And then what you're seeing here below is a simplistic rubric that I made up during our COVID time that I added to the assignment, but it's right here in this side. Now, this is not an active rubric anymore because this is a former class, but I'll show you that you can click on these with the rubric. I'll have to show you a picture of that. Okay, let's go back here and make sure I covered everything.
Dana, can you cover that one more time, how to get to Speedgrader from modules? Like if a teacher adds an assignment to a module, how do they get to Speedgrader from modules to that assignment to Speedgrader, just to show them those steps?
Sounds good. Let me back up here. We'll go to modules. Oh, let me see. I'm not talking, am I? Okay. Nope, that's not what I wanted to show you. Sorry. Okay. So let's see, from modules, the problem for me, oh, here we go. So I have this assignment here. I'm in modules. I have this assignment here. If I go up to the 3, nope.
So it looks a little bit different on a discussion than on an assignment.
I know. I'm trying to find this is my toolbox. I don't actually have.
I think your week 1 small group meeting is a assignment, Dana, that bottom one. So you can click on, from modules, you can click on the assignment title, and then if you notice on the right-hand side of her screen is the Speedgrader button. So if you're opening up the assignment and you want to get to Speedgrader from there, you just click Speedgrader will be an option on the right-hand side. From your gradebook, you can click the 3 dots next to the title of the assignment and Speedgrader will be an option on those 3 dots. Yep, so there's Speedgrader on the right-hand side right there. Dana, did we lose your audio? Yeah, we can't hear you, Dana. Can you hear me? Mrs. Dunn, can you hear me? Okay, okay. Dana, we've lost your audio. Sorry about that. Why don't you try to get it back, and I'm gonna share my screen. And we'll start where we left out. I still can't hear you. Nope. Okay, I'm gonna just answer a few questions that came up and then we're gonna move into Skyward. And Dana, you can keep trying to talk and as soon as I hear you, I'll let you know. So there was a question about your assignment settings and what to do for your assignment settings. So every time you create an assignment, a quiz, or a discussion in Canvas, you always have these assignment settings for that resource. It is always going to default to everyone. You can click the X here and assign it to specific sections, which are periods. You could also assign it to just specific students. You also have a due date here. As a teacher, as a Spanish teacher at Matlack Terrace, I would always assign a due date because I couldn't sync anything from Canvas to Skyward unless it had a due date. So you want a due date. However, I rarely used available from and available until, because if you set an available from, that means that assignment will not be available for students to open until that start time. So that's fine if you want to make it only available from the beginning of second period. But if you set an available until date, that will lock the assignment for students after that time and date. It will not be available to them on their Canvas course. So I only used this available until for tests when I wanted first period to take the test during first period, and then I wanted it to disappear from first period's Canvas course so that they couldn't share it with third and fourth period. So I would use that for quizzes. I didn't use it for assignments or discussions unless there was a specific reason why I didn't want them to be able to access it. Because
We can leave
students,
that blank?
you can leave it blank. Yeah, you do not have to put anything there.
Great.
So I would always assign a due date, but then I sometimes used available from if I didn't want them to work on it early, but I never used available until unless it was a test. What happens in your gradebook, and I'm going to go to my gradebook, is that if I set a due date and a student does not turn it in, that box in my gradebook turns red. So that is a missing assignment for the student because the due date has passed and they have not turned it in. If that student turns it in late, it turns into a blue box. So if it's an online submission, like something they're submitting online, like a text entry, or they're uploading a Google Doc, whatever they're doing, it turns blue, and that's an indication to me that it's a late assignment, I need to grade it, okay? If it's white and it's a submission, that means it was submitted before the due date. So this is an on-time assignment submission that I need to grade. So you do have this color coding. There's no difference between this dark red and this light red. It's just a way to tell the difference between the rows. So this is a really helpful view for you to see who has not turned it in, and there's a due date. If I decide that, oh, the whole class didn't turn this in on time, I must have set a bad due date, or maybe I need to extend the due date for them, I can go in and edit that due date and it'll turn white again. Okay, so those were some questions about Gradebook. And then from the student...
Sorry, Mara,
yeah,
can I interrupt really quick?
Go ahead, Lindsay.
Yeah, so did you create that view by changing something in your settings, or is that automatic?
That's the default setting.
Interesting. Okay, because I'm not seeing, in my Gradebook, I'm not seeing these icons for assignments that are turned in or whatever.
Are they... Okay, so Lindsay, what we might need to check is if you have the new gradebook turned on, because if there is an old gradebook that didn't do this. So we just need to check that your new gradebook is turned on. Will you stick around after this session and we can
Sure.
look at that? Or towards the end, we can do that.
Okay.
And I'll show you how to do that in case other people want to double check.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, from the student view, here's a student in a course. When they click on grades, they will get a notification if there's anything new happening with their grades. So one thing to note is that students set their own Canvas notifications. It's for all of their courses, and they can set their notifications to know as soon as an assignment is published, as soon as an assignment is graded, they can set a notification to get a push notification to their phone. So I would be grading something late at night and my student, I'd change their grade and immediately a student would email me and say, I saw that my grade is this. Why is that my grade? Please explain. And I was like, how are you doing this? So know that students can set notifications to immediately be alerted as soon as you grade something. So just FYI. But when something is changed on their grades, they get a notification on the grades tab. When they click on grades, it will show them just a list of all of their assignments in this course. It will show them if it's completed or not. So these are not late, they're just not done yet. If it's a missing assignment, they get a missing notification. And then let's see, if it's late, they also get notified that it was late. So late means they turned it in, but it was after the due date. So it was a missing assignment that they've now turned in. So depending on how you want to manage your gradebook, I just had a policy for late work. That was a general policy, but then I also, you know, on a case-by-case basis, I would let students turn stuff in late and not ding them points for it. So this is what they see. If you leave them feedback, they get this little comment icon right here. They can click on it and they can see my feedback. So if I leave them written feedback, a video feedback, or audio feedback, that's how they actually see the feedback. That's why it's really important to have grades available in your navigation bar, because that's how students see your feedback on assignments, is through the grades in navigation. There are some really cool things that students can do. So on the right-hand side, they'll see their total score. They'll also see their scores for weighted categories. So if you have categories or weighted categories, they'll see percentages there. And then they can guess, they can change their score for an assignment and see how that score would affect their grade. So they can do some like pretty intense calculations to calculate what they need to get in order to improve their grade in this category. So for those kids that are really savvy with intense equations, they can kind of guesstimate for like the final exam what they need to get in order to get an A or whatever. So this is the student view. Okay, Dana, any questions? Can we hear you, Dana?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can
okay.
hear me now.
Okay, great.
So much for the cordless
I know.
headphones with no power. Yeah.
Tech problems.
I'm not quite sure where we left off with the questions. Let's see.
See, I can open them really fast. Is there anyone that has a question about what we're doing right now? Feel free to unmute yourself.
So we'll get to weighted grades here with
Okay.
Skyward and Canvas. Turn off. How do we turn off the
notifications?
that are
Okay.
overwhelming me?
So as a teacher, you also might want to change your notifications so that you stop getting an email every time students do something. So you're going to click on your account in the upper left corner, and then you have notifications. And this is how students do this as well. So your account in the upper left corner, and then notifications. And you will see there's so many notifications that you can turn on and off. And it will default to your district email address right here. A check mark means notify me right away. A clock is to send a daily summary, a weekly summary, or don't send me anything. And what I find is that I turn off almost everything on my notifications, except for, let's see, conversations. So conversations are any messages that you're sending in the inbox. So if a student sends you a message through the Canvas inbox, you might want an alert for that to be on. But you can go through these and you can turn them on or off based on your preferences. I also have alerts turned on for content link error and global announcements. So a content link error means a student is trying to click on something in my course and that link is broken. It doesn't take them anywhere, or it's not working. So I turn that notification on because I'll get an email like, students are trying to access this link in this module and it's broken. So I can go in and fix that, because if one student tries to access it, then 150 others are going to, and I don't want that email 150 times. And then global announcements is announcements that we as tech coaches put on all of your Canvas courses. So it'll be an announcement at the top of your dashboard. You can get an email notification about that. And we use that very sparingly. It's usually for like when we're at the end of a grading term and we need to remind you to sync to Skyward, not the minute before grades are due, things like that. So, okay, we need to move into Skyward and Canvas. So let me get there. in the original recorded session, we missed one of the Skyward Steps. So I wanted to put in a few slides here to show you that important step, which is setting to post your family and student access in Skyward. So when we sync grades from Canvas to Skyward, there are two things that we need to do in Skyward first. We need to make sure that anything that is showing up in our Skyward Gradebook is set to display under the family and student access. So we're going to set that setting. We can do that right at the beginning, and then we don't have to do it again. We also need to check our Skyward categories. So we need to make sure that our categories are set up as we want them so that we can match them to Canvas. Once we do those two steps in Skyward, then we can move over to Canvas. We're going to create assignment groups in Canvas, and assignment groups is the terminology that Canvas uses for categories. So your Skyward categories are assignment groups in Canvas. We need to make sure that those assignment groups match exactly to your Skyward category names. Once we have our categories set up, then on each assignment, you're going to check the box Sync to SIS. That's what sets up the assignment to sync to Skyward. And then when you're ready to actually sync your grades from Canvas to Skyward, in the Gradebook, we click Sync to SIS, and that will actually send your grades from Canvas to Skyward. So in Canvas, there's really two steps. Checking the box on each assignment to sync to SIS sets it up to post the grade, but then actually clicking Sync to SIS in the Gradebook syncs your grades from Canvas to Skyward. Okay, so a few FYIs about Canvas and Skyward. Canvas talks to Skyward, and this is one-way communication. So whatever I do on Canvas and I push to Skyward, it's a one-way conversation. Skyward cannot push things back to Canvas. Changes in Skyward do not change in Canvas. It is all one-way flow. What that means is that Canvas creates the assignment and pushes that assignment to Skyward. So you do not have to create this assignment in Skyward also. Canvas will do that for you. Because we're taking the Canvas assignment and we're pushing it to Skyward, Canvas will create that assignment in Skyward. Okay, it's the same assignment. So the one in Canvas and the one that shows up in Skyward are the same, but it's a one-way communication from Canvas to Skyward. What that also means, if I have a day one assignment that I push to Skyward, if I go into Skyward and I update students' grades in Skyward, that will not be reflected in Canvas. And when I sync again from Canvas to Skyward, Canvas will override those changes I made in Skyward. So if you are syncing from Canvas to Skyward, you want to do all of your updates and editing in Canvas, not in Skyward, okay? Something that also happens is teachers are like, oh, I don't want this assignment anymore, and they delete it in Skyward. Canvas is still communicating with that assignment that you deleted in Skyward. So if I delete an assignment in Skyward and then I want that assignment to show up again from Canvas to Skyward, it won't create a new assignment. Canvas is still communicating with that assignment you deleted, so we need to just restore that deleted assignment. Okay, so if you find that that happens where this assignment was in Skyward, I pushed it from Canvas and now it's not there, we need to check the deleted assignments and make sure that we restore that assignment that was deleted. Okay, so Canvas talks to Skyward, do everything in Canvas, you won't have to do anything in Skyward then. And honestly, I started using, when I became a teacher at Terrace, I started using the Canvas Gradebook, and I did nothing in Skyward except post my grades and take attendance. Like attendance and posting at the semester or the quarter, that's all I did because I did everything in Canvas and it was much more user-friendly to me. Okay, Dana, any questions right now? Or you're muted.
There was a question about how often the recommendation is to sync Skyward.
Yeah, there's not a district recommendation or requirement.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I usually the requirement was every 2 weeks have your Skyward Gradebook updated. I would say when you grade a bunch of stuff, click sync to post. You can do it after every time you're grading. It's just going to update. So I would just get in the habit of I graded an assignment for a class, I'm going to sync to post. You could set like once a week, but really students are going to be looking at their Canvas gradebook more than they're looking at their Skyward gradebook now, because all teachers are using the gradebook in Canvas. Okay, so the very first thing that you want to do in your Skyward gradebook is change the Skyward default settings for assignments. This will allow families and students to be able to view graded assignments when they open up Skyward. So in order to set this globally for your gradebook, you need to open up your gradebook. You need to navigate to display options in your gradebook menu, and then click on assignment display. Once you click on assignment display, you'll have a lot of options to change. Underneath assignment defaults, there's the option to post to family access default, post to student access default. We need to make sure that both of those drop-down menus are changed to yes, and then we need to click save. What this will do is it will allow students and families to be able to view graded assignments in Skyward. We can set this as a global default in each of our gradebooks, but if we already have graded assignments in our Skyward gradebook that we have synced from Canvas to Skyward, we need to go into the assignment settings for each of those assignments and make sure that these two drop-down menus are saved to yes, and then click save. This is the part of the recorded session that we missed, and I apologize for that. I know these are extra steps for you. If you have any graded assignments, please go in and change these post to family and post to student access settings. Once you do that, and then you set them for each of your gradebooks, moving forward, students and families will be able to view them when they log into Skyward. So Skyward categories, I don't have access to a Skyward gradebook, so I just have to show you screenshots, but hopefully you're familiar with Skyward already. If not, reach out to your tech coach. We can try to troubleshoot. So in your Skyward class, you click on the gradebook, you're going to click on categories, and it will show you your current categories. You can add or edit those categories, and there's a huge list of categories to choose from. You cannot create your own category, but you can choose from the ones that are there. And so you want to make sure first that you have your Skyward categories set up. If you're weighting your categories, you also want to make sure that the weights are correct in those Skyward categories. So we're going to move quickly through this part. If you have questions about Skyward, please reach out to your tech coach, but again, you'd have to just share your screen to show us that. And weighting your categories is up to your personal preference, I think. I don't think there's a requirement. You can do total points, up to you. Once you create categories in one class, there's a button. You can use them for all your other classes. But here is where we want to look at our category description, which is the name of our category. And this is what we have to match exactly to Canvas. So if I have daily work, I have to type it exactly the same in Canvas. If it does not match exactly, it will not sync. And it'll tell you that. Okay, so we're going to write down our categories. Now we're going to go into our Canvas course, and we're going to click on assignments, because in Canvas, they're called assignment groups. They're not called categories. So they're located under assignments in your Canvas course. So I'm going to do that so you can see what this looks like. Oh gosh, I'm super zoomed in. Here we go. So I'm just going to open up an example course, and I'm going to click on assignments in my navigation bar. And I'm going to look at what categories are already created, because Canvas courses will have default categories. They'll have a default assignments category. If you have an assignment in there, they have a default quizzes category, a default discussions category. So we can go in and edit the ones that are already there, or we can just add our own Skyward categories in there. So I have right now assignments, test project quizzes, discussions, quizzes, imported assignments, migrated quizzes. So some of these assignment groups are automatic. If I import any assignment from another course, you will automatically get an imported assignments category. You don't have to delete it. You can leave it there. It doesn't matter. If you migrate anything, it will automatically show up. So what you want to do is have your Skyward categories be at the top right here so that you're sure you have all of them. Okay. So let's pretend that this is not assignments, it's daily work. So I'm going to click the 3 dots and I'm going to edit this category. So I can edit the names of the categories that are already here if I want to. So I'm going to change this and I'm going to make sure that it exactly matches my Skyward name. Don't worry about the percentage right now because I'm going to show you how to set your weights if you weight your categories. So I'm going to make sure it matches exactly, and then I'm going to click Save. And I should see that now be an assignment group, which is categories. So now I have an assignment group called Daily Work. If I want to add a group instead of editing what's there, I just want to leave what's there, I can click plus group. So we're adding a new assignment group, and I'm going to call this, what's another category? Like assessment. Is that how you spell assessment? 2 S's, double S's? Okay. And then I'm going to click Save. So let's say I have 4 categories in my Skyward Gradebook. I have daily work, test project quizzes, assessment, and discussions. So these are my 4 Skyward categories. If I weight my categories, I'm going to click the 3 dots in the upper right corner and I'm going to click Assignment Groups Weight. It's a hidden button. It's really annoying. I always forget where it is every semester that I set up my grades. So it's 3 dots, Assignment Groups Weight. You will have to check this box to weight final grade based on assignment groups. And again, this is only if you weight your assignment groups or your categories in Skyward. And it's going to give you a list of all of your assignment group categories. I can assign weights, let's say 20, 40, 20, 2, 4, 8. Okay, oops. I can assign weights to just my Skyward categories and leave the other ones at 0. I don't need to give these ones a weight because they're just extra categories that are created. I don't need to worry about them. So as long as my weights equal 100, I'm going to click Save. I would really recommend having Skyward open on half of your screen and Canvas open on half of your screen and make sure that they match exactly and the weights are the same. Okay, and then I'm going to click Save. So what I can do from this page now, if I already have created assignments and students have turned them in and I've published them or they're just waiting there, I can actually just drag those assignments to the correct category. So let's say, let me show you an example. So assessment. If I have already created this Canvas quiz and I want this to not be in test project quiz, I want it to be in assessments, I can click these dots right here and I can just drag it to assessments and now it's under the assessment category. Okay, so if you have anything already created, feel free to just drag them to the right category. Going forward, when you create a new assignment now, you are just going to assign that assignment to the correct category. So I'll show you what that looks like. Let me open up an assignment. Gosh, so many assignments. Okay, so here's an assignment that I created. I'm going to edit it. So moving forward, when you create an assignment, a quiz, a discussion, any of those things, at the bottom, you have this assignment group option right under points. And you are just going to click that drop down arrow and you'll see all of your categories there. So I can make an assignment worth a test project quiz grade, or I can make an assignment worth a discussions grade. Like you can decide where that goes in your categories. So you're not limited to only making a quiz and having that be a quiz grade, or making an assignment and having that be an assignment grade. You can make an assignment and say that it's going to count as a test project quiz for my students, just like you would in Skyward. So you can choose the category here and then click Save. When you click on assignments in your navigation bar again, you will see that assignment you created listed under the correct category. Okay, so we created our Skyward categories, we created our Canvas categories, we've assigned assignments to different categories. One thing that you will do now going forward is you want to check the box that says Sync to SIS. So if I open up an assignment, right under, no, it's not right under, where is it? Okay, here's my assignment group button with the drop down. If I scroll down, you get this option to sync to SIS. So you are going to check that box if this is an assignment that you want to sync to Skyward. Checking this box sets up the assignment to sync. It does not actually sync it yet. So we're preparing the assignment to sync. So I'm going to click SIS, and you'll get in the habit of every time you make something, just checking that box because we want everything to be graded and everything to be pushed to Skyward. So I'm going to check the box, and then I'm going to click Save.
I have a question.
If you're not sure if you checked the box or not, you can click on assignments, and this is actually an awesome trick that I didn't learn about until like 2 years into being a Canvas teacher. Ugh. If you click on assignments, if you look on the far right side, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit for you. I can see which assignments I have synced to SIS, or I have said to sync to SIS, and which ones I have not. So this green check mark means that this assignment is ready to sync. This black X means it's not, and I can just click on it, and now it's ready to sync. So that's a good shortcut if you're not sure if you check the box or if you want to go back and sync some of them. Okay,
Hey,
so we're checking the box if we are checking the X if we want it to sync. So we set up our assignments to sync. We're ready to go.
Hey, Mara,
Now
I've got a
what we're
question.
going to do is
Mara, can you hear me?
flew through all of these slides. Okay, so what we need to do now is actually sync to post. Yeah, go ahead, Dana.
Can you hear me? You can't hear me.
We can't hear you, Dana.
Ah.
You can hear her?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I can hear Dana.
I can
You can hear me and her?
Yeah, I can hear Dana too.
Dana, I can't hear you.
I hear Dana.
Oh, what? What happened?
Oh, it's just you guys.
But
Okay.
Mara, you were right. We did not hear her earlier on, but now we can hear her. Oh, okay. I can hear you all now. Dana, can you talk?
I can talk.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is good. It happens to us all the time too.
Yeah.
Hey, we had a question about what do you do you have to redo your categories each semester, or can you default to the next year?
So what we found out is that if you, like, let's say you use semester one, this course now for semester one, next year, if you want to copy this course and use this same course for semester one next year, your categories will transfer. Most of you are probably starting with a new course because you're using the template. So you have to set up your categories this time. If you're copying a previous Canvas course each year, then your categories will transfer.
So second semester, they'll have to start.
At semester, yeah, you'll have to set them up again. Yep, good question. And we will make a template for second semester too, but we're just waiting to get some more feedback on teachers before we do that because we want it to be like set up nicely. Okay, so once you are ready to sync your grades to SIS or to Skyward, you're going to click on grades in your navigation bar. So you're going to go to your Gradebook by clicking on grades. And then there's an action button and you're going to click sync to post grades or sync to SIS. They do the same thing. Canvas added a new button and I think they're going to replace the sync to SIS where they're going to replace one of them. And so eventually there'll just be one button, but right now you could click either and it's fine. So when you click that sync to post or sync to SIS, either one, it's going to pull up all of your assignments and it's going to tell you which ones are ready. So if they're ready to post, it'll be a green check and it'll say ready to post. If you have any problems, it will also let you know. So this is telling me that this enlightenment assignment, I don't have a due date for it. So I can't sync to post because there's no due date. So I can exclude it from posting, or I can click the edit and go to that assignment, add a due date. If your categories don't match, it will say there is no assignment group for this assignment. So it'll tell you that it can't communicate with Skyward because there's not a matching category. So that's where you want to go in and check your categories again and make sure they match. When you click that sync to SIS and it says everything's ready to post, then you just click continue and you post grades. And I can't show you that because I don't have any grade books in Skyward, but you'll get this sync grade will pop up when everything is ready. It's all green and looks great. You just click sync. And every time you do this, it will update the grades for any assignment that you have set to sync to post. So every time I do it, the list is going to get longer because it's going to add more assignments to it. And so it will update any grades that you went back and changed. So if students submitted something late and you graded it, it will update that grade. Okay. Syncing is not always instantaneous. It is right now if you're doing it often. If you wait till the end of the semester to sync your grades, it is not going to be instantaneous. So I would recommend just getting in the habit of when you grade a bunch of stuff, sync to post. And if you do that throughout the semester, it will be pretty instantaneous for you and the students, for those to show up in Skyward. If you wait to sync a bunch of changes like the day or two before grades are due, it is not instantaneous. So we recommend that any last minute changes you're making the day grades are due or the day before, you make those changes in Canvas, you go into Skyward, you make those same changes in Skyward. Canvas will override your changes, but they should match exactly, so it won't matter. So I would always, if a student last minute comes in with 10 late assignments on the day grades are due and they're like, please, 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 Ms. Pelezic, please, I would add them to Canvas and then I go into Skyward and just update those scores too, so that what I post is the most accurate grade. Okay. Again, you can restore deleted assignments. If you find that you sync an assignment from Canvas to Skyward and it's not there, please tell your tech coach. Most of the time, it's an issue with the steps, like you forgot to actually sync to post. There is always like 3 or 4 teachers every single year where there's a glitch in the system. They sync to Skyward and that assignment goes into their deleted assignments folder instead of into Skyward. And we just have to go in and restore that assignment. It literally happens to like 4 people one time all semester, but we like to warn you that if that happens to you, don't panic. We always can recover that assignment, move it back into your Skyward gradebook, and it'll be fine going forward. But it can happen. So just know that it's there. We can help you find it. You can also restore it, but I don't want to bore you with the details because it probably won't happen to you. So you can just let us know. We'll help you. And I showed you the student view. Okay. If you click on the help button in your Canvas account, there is a link to our Canvas teacher resources. There are step-by-step directions on all these things we talked about, and I'll also post the recording there as well. But this website, it's a Google site that we maintain. It is going to be your best friend as you create things in Canvas. So we constantly update it with things that teachers are asking us questions about, but this website will be your go-to resource for anything Canvas related this year. And okay, questions. Man, we went long. That was a lot of details. Okay.
Hey, Maura,
Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Consulting. Hi. Can you just show me? So I just went and I did my Skyward categories. Can you just show me really quick how you go back into Canvas and set the categories? I got a little confused on that little action.
No worries. So on your Canvas course, and you'll have to do this for each of your courses, you click on assignments.
Okay.
In your navigation bar.
Okay.
And let me zoom out just a little bit so you kind of see more of an overview. As soon as you click on assignments and it loads, you will see categories. What's in gray is the name of the category. So anything in gray will be the category. It might have things in it, but it also might not. Like discussions doesn't have any assignments in it. It's just a default category. So this is where you can click the 3 dots on the right-hand side and edit the name of the category to match Skyward. Great question.
And then when we go in there, thanks for that, Maura. When we go in there, do we have to have a percentage?
No, that's totally your preference. If you use weighted percentages, then you want them to match. If you don't have to have them. Yep. And then Dana, will you put the link for the slideshow, the bit.ly for the slideshow in the chat again?
Sure.
Awesome. Okay. Dana, do we have another session right now at 11?
Yeah, I can stick around.
Okay. I'm happy to get that one started.
I'll stay here and then,
okay.
yeah, and then I'll join you in a few minutes.
Okay.
We've got everybody here taken care of. All right.
Okay, great. So Dana's going to answer some other questions. If you have follow-up questions, please email us. We're happy to answer those too. And we'll also update the staff site. And it's so good to see my old teachers from Edmonds Woodway in these meetings. We've come so far. Hi, Miss Mahoney. Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna
stop recording.
Okay. I'm gonna go get that Zoom session started. If you're interested in Zoom questions, it's gonna be a good one.